How's it going, Glowforgers? Well, curiosity finally got the best of me, and I decided to pick up one of these air filters. I've always wanted to know what they're like and how well they work, so thought I'd give it a try. I've been using this for about a month now, and I wanted to share with you my initial thoughts. Before we jump in and take a closer look at some of the features, let's do a quick overview first of how this thing works. Simply connect the 4-inch hose to the back of your Glowforge and the other end to the top of your air filter. Hit the power button on the side. In the app, we're going to toggle the air filter button on. This will turn the exhaust fan in your Glowforge off because the air filter has its own fan that pulls the exhaust out. Over time, as your filter gets dirty, you can keep turning the fan speed up until you notice that the exhaust isn't moving as fast as it used to, which means your filter is probably full and you need to replace it. To replace the filter, unlatch the top, lift the old filter out, and drop in the new one. Alright, so that's a quick overview of how this works. Now let's take a closer look at some of the features. First thing I got to say is I'm very impressed with the build quality of this filter. It's an expensive product and it feels like an expensive product. It's designed exceptionally well, and I can tell that a lot of thought has gone into making this filter. Noise. Okay, at first I was a little bummed by the noise, and that's because I have been babied. For the last 6 months or so, I've been using the 6-inch AC Infinity Fan with some beautiful leak-free reducers, I might add. And as you know, these things are super quiet, and this filter is definitely louder than the inline fan. But this thing is still significantly quieter than the stock fans in your Glowforge. Let me give you some noise comparisons so you can see for yourself. Smell. This thing is great. To me, acrylic smells the worst. And when I was cutting acrylic, I put my face down by these vents and I was smelling and breathing in the air that was coming out, and I couldn't smell anything. I am running a brand new filter in here. Will I be able to smell anything when this filter starts to get dirty over time? I don't know. It's an unknown to me. But if it does, I'll let you know in a future video. All right, suction and fan power. I gotta say I'm very impressed with the quality of fan that they put inside this thing. This is the exhaust fan that goes in the back of your Glowforge. Don't worry, I didn't rip it out. I just bought an extra one for another project that I have. And I thought that, maybe they just had some little fan like this at the bottom that pulls the exhaust out. Well, that is not the case. The fan inside here is an all-metal miniature hurricane that could eat these little guys for breakfast, which makes sense. I mean, look how thick this filter is. So, and this is 10 inches of filter, so it makes sense you would need a very powerful fan to breathe through this much filter. At one time, I was trying to make my own filter, and one thought that I had was, I'm a smart guy. I'm going to save myself $1,000, and I'm just going to build my own filter. And I thought, what if I just bought this filter for $250, build my own enclosure, and hook up my AC Infinity Fan, and boom, I saved myself $750. I did not try that, and I'm not going to try that because I cannot imagine that the AC Infinity Fan would have anywhere near the amount of power it would take to breathe through this much filter. If you have tried that, and if you've been successful, I would really love to know, and please shoot me a comment, but I can't imagine that that would work. So that's why they put such a powerful fan in here, but by the time this powerful fan breathes through 10 inches of filter, does it move the fumes any faster than just the Glowforge itself? I'd say no. I mean, maybe there's a difference, but if you're just looking at the Glowforge itself and watching the fumes clear out of the unit, visually there's really no difference between this filter and the Glowforge just doing it on its own. Air filter longevity. Okay, so the longevity of this air filter seems to be the main issue here and is the only complaint that I've heard from people who own this filter. These replacement filters cost $250, so if you're cutting a lot and these things are filling up fast, that's going to be a significant business expense for you. What I have seen a lot of people do is pick up some pre-filter online. You can get a big sheet of this for pretty cheap and then just cut it down to size. And people have been putting these on top And then when these get dirty, you can just throw these away to try to extend the life of your filter. So I've been using one of these filters from day one. I like the idea, and that way we can try and save a little bit money on our filter. Well, to wrap things up, I think this is a very solid product. I do have to say it's been kind of nice not having to vent out the window. It does have some noise, certainly much quieter than the Glowforge itself. And I think it does a really great job of turning smelly fumes into clean air. The only question I have at this point is how long is this filter going to last? Obviously it's going to depend on my use, it's going to depend on your use. I am going to be using this pre-filter on top here and throwing these away when they get dirty in order to extend the life of my filter here. Please keep in mind that these are my initial thoughts, which may change over time. I'm only a month in. Whether or not you should make this investment, I can't say. I don't want to say. I would recommend finding someone on one of the Facebook groups or user groups that has had more experience with this than I have. Maybe find someone who's had it for a year or two and see what they think, see what they still like it. I know for me, just starting out, I had no idea how hooking up this filter somehow made your Glowforge quiet. I didn't know that there was a fan inside here that exhausted the fumes for you. I had a lot of questions. The website doesn't give you a whole lot of details on this thing and how it works, so I simply just wanted to give you a closer look at how this thing works. Whether or not it's for you, I'd ask someone who has more experience than I have. Also, at the end here, if you have any questions, comments, if there's any video suggestions you want me to do, I'd love to hear from you. I'm just kind of shooting in the dark. I'm giving you information that I think might be helpful for you, but I'd really love to hear from you. Shoot me a comment. I have my email address in the About section in my channel. I'd love to hear from you. So, well, I suppose that's about it for now, my friends. In the meantime, happy glow forging.